Guardian is Metoro's AI SRE that is capable of detecting, root causing, and fixing issues in production environments. In this demo, we are going to be showcasing Guardian's autonomous anomaly investigation capabilities. Guardian continuously monitors your environments to detect anomalies. It monitors all sorts of events, from L7 signals like the HTTP 500 return from a service, P99 latency, down to infrastructure signals like CPU usage, number of allocations, and pod events like ooming. After Guardian detects an anomalous event, it will autonomously investigate it and then root cause it. Then after it's done, if Guardian determines that there's a problem, it will alert you and attempt a code fix if it's possible. In our scenario today, we're going to be disabling the token authentication mechanism inside of the cache service via an admin UI. This will cause the cache to return a 401 back to the Instabook service, and subsequently, because it can't get the session from the cache, the Instabook service will be returning a 500 back to the load generator. Let's use Guardian to investigate this. We're currently in Metoro looking at the Instabook service, and as we can see, everything is fine. We're returning 200s. The load generator talks to the Instabook service, and the Instabook service talks to the cache, all returning 200s. We're in a good state. So now we're going to actually disable the token authentication. So now that token authentication has been disabled, we will start to see 500s from the Instabook service. And you can see already 500s are coming through. So now Metoro will be running anomaly detection. So in the next cycle, within the next minute, Metoro will detect that there's an anomalous number of 500s coming from the Instabook service, and will start to do an investigation, which we'll be able to see in Slack. When Metoro notices the anomaly, it will post in Slack letting us know that it's investigating an issue. Perfect. You can see here that Metoro has noticed that the 5xx rate has been increased for the Instabook service in our demo cluster. So previously it was at 0%, and now it's risen to 62.5%, which is a pretty sharp increase. So we can see here that it's now created a investigation that we can go and follow along. So looking now at the investigation, you can see that Metoro has created a plan to investigate all the individual steps and is currently running through to understand exactly where it should be looking, which services, and what the time window is in order to be able to analyze events. It's completed step 1 here, where it's created an investigation. It's confirmed the environment is demo, and it's confirmed that the Instabook service is present, and it's subsequently found exactly where it should be investigating. Now it's moving on to looking at the traces for that individual service. So it started to look up exactly what's failing. So it's getting attribute values for traces. So in this case, it's looking at the HTTP status code. It looked at the number of 200s and the number of 500s. And now it's looking at the charts of the error rates over time. It's now looking at the dependencies to see if there is a problem inside of the dependencies. And it's now queried to see that there are 401s coming from the upstream. If we click inside of the tool calls here, we can see exactly what's being made. So we would like to see all of the traces that have the Instabook cache as the server side and the Instabook as the client side. All of the telemetry which is being analyzed right now is being pulled out by Metoro via our eBPF collectors, which are running inside of the cluster. No additional telemetry is needed. No instrumentation has been added to any of these services. So now it's completed the trace step, and it can see that all the Instabook 500s are 5xx's are explicitly 500s, and their post requests to the booking/session endpoint, and it's originating from the load generator Instabook service. And the service graph shows the downstream calls to the cache return HTTP 401s in the same time period, which strongly suggests that there's auth failures which are being translated into 500s. So now that we have that, Guardian is going to look at the logs. So you can see here that it's already done looking at the logs, and it can see that Instabook is emitting cache authentication failed errors with the status code 401. Now it's just finishing up the investigation by looking at runtime metrics and looking at any deployment changes to see if this was a deployment created issue or whether this was something which happened during runtime. It's looking through the Kubernetes resources, pulling down the YAML for the Instabook service and the Instabook cache, see whether or not any of the image text changed or whether there was anything in the deployment files that also changed. It's completed its metric analysis, and it can see that the deployments are unchanged. So now it's just documenting it, checking to see if this is a recurrence of a previous issue, and finalizing the investigation. And there we have it. It finished. It's created an investigation and categorized it to an issue. And we can see that the root cause of the issue is a 500 spike on the Instabook service, which was driven by Instabook cache returning 401s. And then Instabook surfaced those as 500s to the clients. And it's a recurrence of an issue that we've already seen inside of the cluster. So we can see that related issue. And we can see over here that there is an overall issue for this, which has been recurred many times. And subsequently, Guardian has automatically created a code fix. And in this case, the code fix is fixing the authentication being toggled off via an unauthenticated localhost post call to admin token, which is what we did previously. And you can see here that what it's doing is it's adding an admin secret. So in order to be able to actually use that endpoint, you have to pass the admin secret to it. So not just anybody can turn off authentication. And there we go. Metoro has successfully diagnosed the issue and created a fix for it. Heading back to Slack, we can see the full trace through. So we can see that the anomaly was detected, and then subsequently the investigation was completed. And we can see here that the 5xx spikes on Instabook were driven by the Instabook cache. So straight from Slack, you can see exactly was this a problem? And if it was, what we found.